Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming out tonight to this fourth town hall meeting in a series of four that I've been doing over the last 2 weeks around the neighborhoods in LaGrange. This is, if you will, the northeast section of town, and I appreciate the congregation here at Dunson United Methodist Church, Dr. Don Jolly, for the hospitality in allowing us to have this town hall meeting here. Appreciate all of you taking the time to come out tonight. I would like to begin by asking Dr. Jolly, if he would, to come forward and to offer a word of welcome and an opening prayer.
We welcome you to Dunson United Methodist Church, and we'd like to begin with a word of prayer. Father, we thank you for your love, for your power, your presence. Guide us in the discussions. Help us to relax. Help us to share and reflect your love for each of us. We give you thanks in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Jolly. Something a little bit unusual tonight. I always begin by recognizing the members of the LaGrange City Council that are joining us. And we actually have 2 members of the City Council here tonight. We have Councilman Mark Mitchell with us, and then we also have Councilman Dr. Tom Gore with us. If you would recognize them tonight. And Dr. Gore has seen this lovely piano and has offered to play a song for us to open tonight's meeting, showing off an extra talent that we didn't know Dr. Gore had, right? So, Dr. Gore, any?
Yeah, I was just going to say, realize I'm a relatively new student to the piano, so don't be too critical. I learned from one of our council members, LaGrange McCamey, that there are no wrong notes on the piano. They're just choices, good choices, and maybe choices that aren't so good. So I hope we end up with a lot of good choices tonight. Just for something different, for fun, I hope you enjoy it. This is a tune that was written by a contemporary composer named Dennis Alexander, and it's called Winter's Serenade. So it doesn't feel too much like winter tonight, but we'll pretend like it's winter.
Thank you, Dr. Gore. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you and Mark being here this evening. We also have several members of the LaGrange city staff tonight. We have our city manager, Meg Kelsey. Appreciate her being here, as well as our assistant city manager. We have Captain Mike File, Lieutenant Dale Strickland from the LaGrange Police Department. We have Natalie Smith from the LaGrange Police Department. And then we have our LGTV staff, which are manning the cameras and the computers in the back. So appreciate all of you. I hope everyone had a chance when you came in tonight to get a copy of the 2017 Mayor's Update. This is something new that I have done this year, and appreciate the help of the city staff in putting this together. In the past, when I've had the town hall meetings, I would begin the town hall meeting with a monologue where I went through and chronicled all the things going on in the city, economic development projects, transportation projects, etc. And that would always take a fair bit of time at the beginning of these meetings. And what we realized this year is that because there is so much happening in the city, so many things going on, that it would just consume all of our time tonight if I went up here and walked through all of these items. So this is a high-level summary. There may be some of these things that you want to talk about tonight, that you want to ask more specific questions on. There may be things that aren't included in here that you would like to ask about, and certainly the floor is open for all of those questions and comments. The thing that I find most beneficial about these town hall meetings, from my perspective, is when citizens come out with new ideas, new suggestions for things that the city might consider, the city might want to look into, new programs that we might undertake. Because it is my firm belief that most good ideas don't start at City Hall. Most good ideas start out in the community. And when you have an idea that you want to share, I hope you will experience that the City of LaGrange is and the leadership, the mayor, the council, the staff, are all very open and eager to hear new ideas, to hear new suggestions, and to work with them to see how they can be put into place. That's how a lot of the great things that are happening in our community now started. They started with individuals, groups of citizens coming together and saying, this is an issue we would like to see it addressed. But they're not just turning it over to the city to say, hey, y'all go solve it, y'all go fix it. They're coming forward with their own ideas, their own suggestions and initiatives. And that's the most powerful part about these town hall sessions. But this is not the only way that citizens get to interact with me as mayor, with our city council and staff. Our LaGrange City Council meetings are public meetings. They are always open, and I have an open microphone policy at the city council meetings, meaning that if you ever have a concern or a question, you can come to a city council meeting second or fourth Tuesday of every month, 5:30 downtown at 208 Ridley. And towards the end of the meeting, after we've gone through all the agenda items, I always say, if there's anybody else in council chambers who has anything that needs to come before the city, please, let us know. And that's an open microphone invitation to anybody who wants to come forward to ask a question, make a suggestion, leave a comment with us. We really want the government of the city to be as open, as transparent, as accessible to the community as is possible. And so this is just another way we do it, by coming out into the neighborhoods, by coming out into the four corners of the city, if you will, to have another opportunity for that kind of conversation and dialogue. But there are a lot of things happening in LaGrange. I think it's an exciting time to be in LaGrange. If you go around our city, you see lots of new projects, lots of new growth and development. Sometimes you have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet? Is that the term? And sometimes you have to take things down, like is happening now with the JCPenney's building, because the mall has found a tenant to take over the JCPenney space with a sporting goods retailer, and they have found they're going to add on an additional 60,000 square feet for the Hobby Lobby retailer, and then they have some other restaurants planned on that space. But So you have to go in and sometimes remove some things before you can then start building the new. But everywhere you go, the mall, exit 13, where they have a huge crane up for Great Wolf, the downtown hotel, which I think now has at least 3 floors completed. Everywhere you go, there are projects and developments underway, and this is all exciting. It all goes back to the undeniable fact that people, corporate America, are choosing to invest significant amounts of resources in LaGrange because they see LaGrange as a place that they can do business and they can be successful, and we, all of us collectively as citizens, are going to benefit over the next few years as these projects start to come online. And that's something that I think we should be very excited about. In addition to the jobs and the investment that brings, these developments, and particularly these investments, will bring additional resources to our community. Additional tax revenue, additional private investment that we can then harness to address some of the issues and the concerns that we have as a community. And so I'm very excited about being able to deploy these resources in smart and effective ways to improve the quality of life of all the citizens in LaGrange. And so that's been my goal for the last 3 years as your mayor. I know it's a goal that all 6 members of our city council share, not just the ones who are here tonight, but all of our council members share the same goal for our city. So with that, I'm going to ask you the very simple question, the way I've started out all these town hall meetings. What's on your mind? What's on your mind? Yes, ma'am.
I have 3 concerns.
Okay.
One is, could you get your traffic engineer to look at the intersection of North Greenwood and Vernon? There's a lot of traffic coming up from South Greenwood, and like I had a meeting in St. Mark's this afternoon. I got out at 20 minutes to 3. Going up to North Greenwood, up to Vernon, I had to make a left-hand turn. It was impossible. There were 10 cars coming, and the light changed before I could even make my left turn. So what I do, you get out in the middle of the intersection, and you have to clear the intersection.
Right.
That happens even on Sunday morning. Now, Sunday morning should be light traffic. No, not coming from South Greenwood into North Greenwood.
We will definitely have someone take a look at that. Vernon, as you know, is a DOT highway, and so it really doesn't matter what me and the council think. We have to run everything through DOT. But what we can do is we can do a traffic study. We can have our traffic team look at it and make a recommendation to DOT, and hopefully they can respond to that. Sure. Yep. Well, we've got that down.
Okay. Second one is, my husband and I are the only 2 here in the ranch. We have no children, no grandchildren, no cousins, aunts, uncles, anybody. When our fire alarm goes off, our smoke detector goes off, it makes a horrible racket. We've been here for 4 years. We can't get up on, we're too old to climb up on ladders and change the stupid battery. And so I've had to call the fire administration office, and then they end up eventually sending a truck out, and that has 3 people on it. I know that's got to be expensive, but that puts that truck out of service, while he comes and changes my smoke detector. They're very nice. And they say, oh, just call us anytime we can help you.
Sure. It's a service that the fire department offers.
Yes, yeah. But maybe I make a suggestion is maybe you have a fire rescue truck with 1 person on it, and then have people in the community sign up and say, okay, sometime during the month of October or sometime during the month of November, would you come and change my smoke detector? Okay. And so that would be a big help for us senior citizens that can't get up on ladders anymore. And just in following up on that, the question being about changing smoke detectors, that is a service that the fire department offers. So please, any citizen who has that issue of needing help changing the smoke detector batteries, etc., please call the fire department, and they will help with that. And then your suggestion, which I think is something that we will definitely ask the fire department to evaluate, is whether there is whether there's a more efficient way, is really the question. Is there a more efficient way to do it? Guys that are on the fire truck, one guy gets up on the ladder, the other guy hands him the battery, so the third guy stands around and kind of gets direct. That's a waste of manpower. Yeah. But I have to have those smoke detectors. I've thought about trying to see if I can yank them out of my house or something. I can't.
Yeah. But we will follow up on that. But I'm glad to know that you are using the service, and I'm glad to know that it's good. It's a good service that the fire department provides, and we'll follow up on that with them.
Then the third suggestion I have is, have you thought about maybe when Great Wolf opens and everything, maybe having a shuttle service to and from downtown LaGrange or something like that? You know, because I read in the paper where it said that, you know, if you spent the night at Great Wolf, you could start using facilities at 1 o'clock. But what if you get here at 10 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock? If you had a shuttle service, maybe you could go to Charlie Joseph's and get a hot dog or walk around the stores or something.
And thank you for that. And that's, yes, that there has been some discussion because we know when Great Wolf opens, and they'll open next summer of 18. When they open, we know they're going to be bringing 400,000 or 500,000 visitors to our community every year. And one of our goals is to not have them just stay there at Great Wolf, but try to get them to come downtown to the museums, the restaurants, also to Hills and Dales, to the Biblical History Center, some of the other tourism attractions. So the Downtown Development Authority has been thinking through the logistics of a trolley type system that would provide transportation for those guests into downtown particularly, because that's what the Downtown Authority is most concerned about, is the downtown businesses, Sweetland, the downtown museums, the new brewery that's under development. And so, yes, that is in the works. It's one of those things that the cost of acquiring the trolley is not really the issue. The cost is the operational subsidy of having the drivers and all to constantly be working with it. And we don't yet know, and I think time will tell, we don't yet know what the peak demand times would be for Great Wolf guests and when they would want to come to dinner or as you say, arrive early and can't check in and want to come downtown. So we've got to understand that better with them. And the good thing is we have some time. So yes, but it's a great suggestion, and I think that we will definitely be following up with that. So thank you very much. We've got a Facebook question.
Yes. Louis Havard III wanted to know, what is the schedule for repaving streets in the subdivisions?
The streets in the subdivisions are repaved on a cycle. There's a plan, and I'm not sure which specific street he may be referring to, but all the streets in LaGrange have been repaved over the last 10 years or so through SPLOST. And they're on a rotational cycle. So basically, when a street comes up for repaving, it will be repaved just in the same cycle as it's been in the past, unless there's a specific issue. So if there is a specific issue on a street, then we need to know that, and then we can go and address it. But I'm just talking about the general maintenance of streets. That has been a primary use of the city SPLOST funds, the City Transportation SPLOST funds, and that SPLOST will be coming up for renewal this fall. So in order to continue to repave the streets on that rotational cycle, we will need the voters of Troup County to approve a renewal of the SPLOST this fall. But that is definitely a primary use of city SPLOST funds is the repaving of streets. Yes, ma'am.
This is about the streets here. Right there at Lafayette Parkway, it's like a really big dip in the street right there, and the one next to over where CVS is going on Morgan Street, and it's really just takes your car out when you just go across that. So what about that? And then I have something else too, and I just want to comment. I was looking at the brochure about the roundabout. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And
and roundabout specifically, that's a traffic control mechanism that has really been catching on in Georgia. The DOT likes them. They're very safe. They're very efficient. And so I think you're going to see more of that as years go on. In terms of the roads themselves, right there, that's probably the most heavily traveled intersections in town, right there at Lafayette, Morgan, and Greenville. I'm not sure specifically where the dip is, but we'll definitely get someone to look at it. Again, those are DOT roads, and so we'll have to coordinate any work with them, but we'll definitely put that on the list of things we need to talk about.
Catholic Church, where
okay. Okay.
There. And then I have this other question.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
I see that we have the councilman here, which is this meeting is is in the area where I am, and every time I see somebody
Well,
who wants something done,
Yeah.
to suggest something, when I see one, because I know 3 of them, but when I see one, they say, well, I'm not in that area, so I just want to know who the area is, and they always tell me you have to talk to somebody else, because they are not in that area, that district, and I just want to know what district it is.
Well, tell me where you live. Do you mind telling me? You don't have to give me your exact address, but tell me the.
It's really easy. I live right next door, in the apartment next door at Richard Wood.
Okay, right here on Barnard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think that's District 1, isn't? Yeah. So LaGrange, and this is a good civics opportunity. LaGrange is a little bit unique in the way we set up our city council. I, the mayor, am the only person elected citywide. Okay, so if you live in the city of LaGrange, then I'm your mayor. Okay, I mean I'm elected citywide. But our city council, our 6 city council members, are elected from 2 districts. We have what we call District 1 and we have District 2. District 1 elects 3 council members and District 2 elects 3 council members. They do it on rotational years, so they're not all up every year, but they all represent the same district. That's what's called a multi-member district as opposed to a single-member district. That's a little bit confusing because normally in state legislature, in Congress, in county commission, in most other situations, you actually have 1 representative. But in the beauty of LaGrange is wherever you live, you've got 3 council members and a mayor that you are a direct constituent of. But I will tell you also that in my experience, most of the council members, try to be responsive regardless of exactly where the district is. But if you want to know specifically, then the 3 council members for District 1 are Councilman Mitchell, Councilman Gore, and Councilman Nick Woodson. And then the 3 council members for District 2 are Councilman Willie Edmondson, Councilman Legree McCamey, and Councilwoman Norma Tucker. So those are the 3 from each district. But I think Councilman, is this District 2? Okay, yeah, I'm not sure exactly where the line is, but. Okay. But we can get the exact district you're in, but those are the council members based upon which district you're in. So, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
What I need to know, I stay on Fulton Street. Okay, our road needs fixing. We have some rundown houses over there. We have some bushes that need cutting. We have reported this several times. So the people come around and check it. Oh yes, we get to. Nobody been over there yet.
Okay. Fulton Street. Okay. Well, you've got the city manager in the back, and so she will make sure that the code enforcement and street department pays a visit to. And if you can give her your number after the meeting, then we can follow up with you.
When they come over there, but they never do anything about it, and it's been going on for a while.
The city has pretty significant limitations on what we can do with private property. We have a code enforcement office that can enforce certain things, such as like if grass is too high and some of that, but they can't go in the house necessarily and do anything with the structure. So there may be some limitations on the housing side that the code enforcement office deals with. On the street side, that's just simply a matter of getting it on the repair schedule, and so we'll definitely need to let the street department take a look at it and see what needs to be done at Fulton Street.
The yard need cleaning. Don't the city have something to do with the owner of the house going living in the house?
Well, we have codes that we can enforce, but it's also the law is very clear on respecting private property. That if it makes it very difficult, there's a very high burden on the city before the city can come on private property and take any code enforcement action. And so that's a frustration. It's not just LaGrange. You can talk to folks in Atlanta or Noonan or Columbus. I mean, they all have the same frustration because because neighborhoods want to have more control of the streetscape, and the problem is that government is very restricted on what government can do in coming onto private property. But we will take a look at that and see. We do have, like I say, landscape ordinances. We have health and safety codes. So there are some tools in the toolbox for the city code enforcement, and we'll have to take a look at it and see, and then report back what the options may be. But I just want you to know we'll take a look at it. There are limitations, but we sometimes, I think Alton West isn't here tonight, but I think Alton's told me that probably 400 times a year, maybe, the city code enforcement makes contact with a private property owner, and almost always they voluntarily comply, right? And if they'll voluntarily comply, then that's a great thing. The problem's going to be if they slam the door in our face, then we're pretty limited on what we can do, but we'll definitely take a look at it and see.
What are you all planning on doing about the bridge?
Well, the bridge is scheduled to be replaced. It is unsafe, and so the DOT shut it down because it's an unsafe bridge. The DOT is going to replace it. The state DOT is going to replace it, but they have to negotiate with the CSX Railroad to get access and right-of-way and so forth. That has delayed the process. The last report I got from the DOT was that they were hoping this fall to replace the bridge, but they know it is creating traffic issues all over the east side of town. They know that. The city manager and I have communicated that to them on multiple occasions, and so we'll continue to press that. But it's not a city project. It's a DOT funded project. So we're going to be at a little bit at the delay from them. I would encourage you to reach out to your state legislators, where I guess if you live on Fulton Street, probably that's Bob Trammell in the State House and Josh McCoon in the State Senate. But I would encourage you to reach out to them and ask them to contact state DOT and encourage them to expedite the process.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me get a Facebook question, then I'll come to Judy.
Okay, we have Lisa Wilkinson, who wants to know, is there any plans to build an access road behind the businesses on Lafayette Parkway? Example, Chick-fil-A. It is very dangerous trying to leave these businesses at certain times. Thank you.
Yes, there are plans. There actually are drawings for an access road that would connect Hoffman Drive, Cotton Drive, all the way to South Davis, that would kind of run behind Home Depot and so forth. Those plans have been drawn up by the owners of that land, not by the city or the county. But they probably will not do that until such time as a developer wants to develop that land. So, I mean, it's probably not going to be something that just happens speculatively, in other words. But if there's a lot of land for sale back there, and so if and when that land sells, or they find a developer who wants to develop it, then yeah, there are plans for a road, and I think it would be helpful in terms of getting out of some of those businesses if there was a back way out. So we know that would be a helpful thing. You have, I think, 4 property owners along that stretch, maybe 4 or 5. There's several. It's not just one property owner, it's multiple property owners along there, and they will have to, of course, all agree on whatever is done. But hopefully that will, we hope that will develop in the near future. Judy.
It's been very exciting to see the hotel building go up downtown. But can you talk a little bit about the parking deck and when it's going to be finished, and kind of what's the access route going to be?
Sure. The hotel, the Raylin Construction, who is building both the hotel and the parking deck, are staging it very intentionally the way they are, because the hotel takes a lot longer to build than the deck. You have a lot more interior trim work and interior furnishings and all of that sort of stuff, air conditioning vents, all that you're not going to have on the deck. So they're building the hotel first. Now what's happening is if you go by there, you'll see that they have already poured the footings for the parking deck. So they dug out the deck, they've poured the footings, and then soon I think you'll probably start seeing concrete coming up out of the ground for the deck. The deck will actually probably be finished first. Even though they're starting later on it, it'll be finished first because you don't have all that interior work to do on the hotel. So they've got a very methodical plan as to how they're staging it. If you go to the site, you'll notice that the hotel, base of the hotel, the pad, the concrete pad for the hotel, is much higher than the hole they've dug down for the deck. And that's intentional as well. From the hotel perspective, there will be a whole level of parking below grade. But it will be on grade with the Country's Barbecue parking lot. Okay? So that's why they're doing it that way. The deck will be one level below grade, and then I think it's four above. Is it total of 4 or 4 above? 4 above. I think it's 4 levels above grade, 1 below grade. And so that's how they're staging that right now. The access will be, you will have an access point off of Broad, and you'll have an access point off of Vernon. And they'll be on different levels, right? You see, there'll be an access point in both directions, and there's a road going to be cut between the hotel and the parking deck that will be two-way. It'll be a two-way road, so you'll be able to turn in off of Vernon and off of Broad. The idea is, and it's kind of like a roundabout almost, the idea is they hope that people will sort of loop around the hotel and access. It's going to be a lot easier to get into the hotel and the deck off Vernon, making a right turn off Vernon, and then exiting probably off of Broad. That's what we anticipate the traffic pattern being. But it will be accessible by pedestrians from both directions, as you know, for pedestrian access as well as vehicular access. Because the parking deck itself is going to be owned by the city of LaGrange. It's a publicly available parking deck that will have 200 spaces. It will be available for the churches, for Country's Barbecue patrons, for customers at the Coca-Cola building, as well as for the hotel. So I mean, anybody downtown, will have access to the deck.
Is there a time frame at all on completion of the deck?
The deck will probably have to open it all at the same time, just simply because it's a construction site, and so for safety reasons, it'll have to all be opened at once. The published completion date is December, but I recently had a conversation with one of the principals of the owners of the hotel, and he thought they could probably get it done before then, maybe even around Halloween time. So I mean, it depends on weather and construction delays. If any of you have ever built in a construction project, you know how that goes. But they're very optimistic. And you can see it's going up quick. It's going up quick. Henry?
Well, the thread, once the initial stage from Granger Park to Allison Street is completed, can you speak about what the next ones are in line and about when some of them will come on?
Yeah. The reason that the Granger Park Model Mile is first is because we actually got a grant from the State Department of Natural Resources to help fund that, and we've got a timeline. We've got to get going on that. But very quickly thereafter, you're going to see another project in the Ragland, Calumet area, where that's the second component of the mile, of the thread. Right now, those are the only two components that are funded. Okay, so the city out of City Splost is funding plus the grant from the state, the Granger and the Ragland section. Those will occur this year, or will get underway this year. The remaining sections of the thread will be funded if the countywide Splost is approved in November. That's one of the items that we anticipate Now, let me back up and say, I'm getting ahead of myself, and Chairman Patrick Cruz isn't here tonight, but the county has not technically called for a renewal of the county SPLOST yet. We anticipate the county, and it comes from the county, we anticipate the county commissioners will call for a renewal this summer, and it will be on the November ballot. That's the anticipation. And we anticipate that the THREAD funding will be a part of that, along with the road resurfacings and public safety, police and fire equipment. I mean, lots of other things will be included in that, but we anticipate the THREAD will be an item. Yes, sir.
It's being hard to get out out by the mall. On this side of the railroad bridge, also down by the Mitsubishi place, we can hardly ever get out. If
Okay.
you sit there 15 minutes waiting,
To make a left turn.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's constantly accidents right there.
Yeah, and that's where you're talking about is where Greenville dead ends, kind of right there at Parkway Mitsubishi.
Around 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
but it's still all in the afternoons.
Sure.
You can't get out.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I had a petition for a traffic light there at one time, and the state DOT said they had to have some statistics.
Right.
Every time they had one, I called.
You call, yeah.
He got where he wouldn't answer the phone.
Well, we will. Again, I mean, I know I don't like doing this because I actually like fixing things. I mean, I like solving problems for people. I mean, that's, you know, I know the council members do as well and the staff. But since that is a DOT, like you've experienced, you've been working with the DOT on it. I mean, that's the main thing we can do. But we will definitely put that on the list to share with them, and I'll mention to them that it was brought up. What I do is when we have a town hall session like this, or when someone comes to a city council meeting, we then take those, and the next time I have a chance to meet with our DOT commissioner, I'll say, here's one of the items that was brought up in a town hall session, and so I'll make sure that's on the list. And,
Gateway things, I like that, where it has the sidewalks. There's people that having to walk to work from
Right.
up on East Runner and on, out past the mall, and walk in the grass and stuff.
yeah, I know, I see it too. And we,
You know, you need to help the working man.
yeah, absolutely, and we need. Yeah, we need to definitely invest in sidewalks, and that's something we have done. We've started trying to do around town, and Lafayette Parkway is definitely a place where we need sidewalk improvement, and so that's why that gateway study was done. It's basically Greenville Street, Lafayette Parkway, Whitesville Street, and Hamilton Street. They're looking at those four main corridors, and Whitesville and Hamilton have some sidewalks, but Lafayette Parkway was built for the car. It wasn't built for pedestrian.
And I think had sidewalks on it.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's when you was a teenager.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that was before my time, but yeah, we know it's a need. We know that's a need.
Commerce, you had sidewalks.
Mayor, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, let me get Councilman.
If you, just for safety reasons, you might want to consider going to Raglan, going to the red light, and then turn left on the Parkway, if you're on that
I
side.
can't get to Raglan.
Are you not on that side?
I'm on Mallory Drive. You can't get to
Oh,
Raglan.
you're on the other side. I got you. Okay, yeah.
You're blocked in.
I got you.
I think I have a Facebook question.
You do. It's a long name. Evie Brad Mosqueda Kedler. Just said, I would like to see more changes to the animal ordinance and have several ideas and suggestions. Would it be possible for me to sit one-on-one with someone to share ideas to help improve the lives of dogs in LaGrange? While we no longer allow chaining of dogs in the city, which was a big step forward, we could still do more for dogs and people.
Well, thank you for the question, Evie, and thank you for your passion, because Evie is the reason why we no longer allow chaining of dogs in LaGrange, in large part, because she brought this issue to our attention, and she pushed the city council for a year or so, and the council did adopt an ordinance a year or two ago that prohibited fixed point chaining. We do allow tethering of dogs under certain limitations and certain standards, but not the fixed point chaining. And I know Evie would like to see us revisit that and perhaps no longer allow the tethering or change some of the restrictions on the protection of animals and particularly dog welfare. What I would do, Evie, is I would encourage you to set up a time to meet with our city manager to talk about the existing ordinance and what specific changes might be requested. And then the city manager is obviously going to get some feedback from our animal control department. Of course, Captain File is here tonight, and I know Captain File supervises this, works very closely with Evie. Would you like to comment, Captain File, on any?
Well, I just want to add and echo your comments. Evie had a lot to do with the changes in our chaining ordinance that led to the tethering. And as I've expressed to her before, I'm more than glad to work with her on a continuing basis to address her concern.
Yeah. So perhaps the city manager and Captain File would be the people to meet with to look at the specifics to see what we can do to tweak that, and then they can bring that report and recommendation to the council. Yes?
Jim, I have several issues on my mind. Speaking of sidewalks, as we all know, LaGrange College has done tremendous work as far as new facilities, as far as looks and so forth and so on, which is a blessing to the community. However, in the 500 and 600 block of Vernon on the north side, there's about 2 blocks there that probably most of the property belongs to the city. It is in dire need of being cleaned up and sidewalks installed. We're trying to make this a walkable community. The kids at the college do not have access to downtown unless they cross Vernon or either go down Broad Street. And that place needs to be cleaned up and sidewalks installed there. Very minimal cost, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we'll have to look into that. The city doesn't own any of that property there, but that's owned. There may be some right of way, but those houses are mighty close to the road, so we'll have to check and see what the right of way issues are there. It's actually not that far a stretch you're talking about. It's from the Methodist church to the college. Yeah, on the north side. So we'll definitely take a look at that and see if that's something that we can is feasible, what the cost would be. Because I agree with you. I mean, one thing that I would love to see is more of our LaGrange College students coming downtown, coming down to the restaurants, coming downtown to the bike shop, right? And so yeah, I mean, I think we definitely would like to see more connectivity there. So that may be an opportunity for us.
Also, we are trying to clean the area up for the Great Wolf visitors, you know. Whitesville and Hamilton Road I don't believe we're going to be ready for 400,000 or 500,000 visitors per year as far as looks go. Have you been by the corner of Whitesville and Cravette Street lately?
I have, yeah. I was there the other day. I had lunch at the Cart Barn today, so I rode past it twice. Yeah.
Some guys just absolutely.
You're talking about the firewood,
right?
Yeah. Okay, I was trying to remember what was there, but the firewood shop. Yeah. One of our council members has been very attuned to that for a couple of years and trying to address it. It's a legitimate business. We don't have any ordinances necessarily that it violates and so forth, but I know a lot of people complain about the look of it. So it's what I'm doing though. What I'm doing and what I hope will be helpful is the City Council has now adopted the Gateway Corridor Plan. And the Gateway Corridor Plan identifies that stretch of Whitesville from the intersection of Whitesville and Hamilton to Lucan Industrial. It identifies it as our number one priority for gateway improvement. And so with that in mind, I'm hoping that we will be able to get some buy-in from the business owners and the homeowners along that stretch, that if the city will come in and invest some city resources in sidewalks, lighting, plantings, some of the things like you see on the map, if we will invest some resources, we would like to see some of the private property owners invest some resources in the commercial strip malls, strip areas, the homeowners areas. We already know that the Housing Authority is willing to invest some of their resources. Mrs. Hurd has been very, very proactive in trying to figure out how she could improve the streetscape there. So I think that I hope you'll be able to see some change in that Whitesville corridor by the time Great Wolf opens. Hamilton's a totally different issue. The issue with Hamilton Road is that, as everybody knows who's been in LaGrange for any period of time, the Hamilton Road widening project, which bears DOT number 91, meaning that it started in 1991, is our transportation priority number one. It's about a $45 million project to widen Hamilton Road from the Whitesville intersection to Auburn Avenue. The good news is that the state actually has that in the 2017 STIP to begin right-of-way acquisition. So we think the DOT is going to start acquiring property along Hamilton in the next year or so. They have to acquire all or part of 190 pieces of individual property along that stretch. And so it's going to take a while to negotiate all those acquisitions, but they are hopeful they can get that done in a couple of years and then start construction. They have a beautiful plan for widening that road with sidewalks and so forth. I mean, it will be a nice stretch of road once they can get it funded and get it moving forward. But that's probably not going to happen as soon as hopefully some of the improvements on Whitesville will.
Speaking of gateways, as we all know, Roanoke Road is a gateway to the Westport Lake, as well as West Point Road. There's a property on Roanoke Road. I thought it was in the county, but I checked with Patrick a couple of days ago, before I went to Ohio. He said he did some research, and it's actually in the city, as per Patrick. That's S&S Carts, right at the railroad there on Roanoke Road. Surely there's some ordinances on the books that could be.
We'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at it and see. I don't know if it's in the city or the county. Out there in that section of the county, the city limits and the county limits go in and out in strange ways. But we'll take a look at it and see. And if it's not in the city, we'll refer it over to the county. If it's
Patrick says it's city.
Yeah, but we'll take a look at it. Yeah.
A couple of other things. I think you made a statement that some of the property around the mall was reserved for restaurants. You said a national chain. I know you can't call names and so forth, but to your knowledge, are any of those chains the Red Lobster, Olive Garden, Texas Roadhouse type people?
I can't name names, and what I've been told by Hull, which is the owner of the mall, is that they've set aside these spaces. They're on their master plan to build out parcels for restaurants. I'm told they have some letters of intent, but they don't have any leases signed yet. And until they have leases signed, they can't disclose names. I am told by Hull that we will be very happy, but I don't know what that means. That's in the eye of the beholder, right? I will tell you, I doubt it's going to be a Red Lobster, because Red Lobster's not building restaurants anywhere. They're closing restaurants. It's not going to be an Olive Garden, because Olive Gardens aren't building anywhere. They're closing restaurants. So it's going, but I think it will be national. It will be national name restaurants that they're talking about. But it's going to be restaurants that are in growth mode, as opposed to legacy restaurants that are in closing mode.
Last question, I'll let you go. The intersection of Commerce Avenue and New Franklin Road. As you well know, that's one of the worst intersections in town. And I think installing the right turn lane there has been on the horizon for a number of years. Are there any time frames that you're aware of that we could see that?
I'm not, but we can check into it. I mean, I don't know of any specific plans to do it, like a dedicated right. I mean, you mean like
several years ago there was an article in the newspaper per se that intersection was getting some attention.
Right.
By that they meant that they were be installation of a right turn lane from New Franklin Road onto Commerce.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any specific plans for that, but we'll check on that with the DOT. Well, yeah.
It's one of the worst intersections in town. I run across the other day on just purely accidental. There's a DOT traffic count for the entire state. And you can click on just about any of the major intersections and get a fairly accurate, traffic.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the DOT is very good about that. Yeah, very good about that.
But, it needs some attention.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Dr. Henry?
At the risk of staying on the streets and sidewalks, I would like to say that I'm keenly aware of the lack of sidewalks on the west side of New Franklin Road, all the way out to Walmart, so that I often see people walking on the dirt and trying to move around obstacles, and to cross that road anywhere down as far as Walmart is treacherous. I know that's well known.
Yeah.
I just would like you to say, well, you heard that again in another town.
For the record, we have heard that sidewalks on New Franklin Road on the west side particularly are important. And yes, it is, because Walmart is a significant retailer there that does draw a lot of foot traffic. So we will, thank you for sharing that.
Jim.
Yes, ma'am.
Going back to Pegasus Parkway, I think the city made a terrible mistake when they took the turn arrows away at the post office and et cetera there at that intersection. When people, and I shot.
Lafayette Parkway. I thought you said Pegasus. Yes.
I said Lafayette. I shop all the time. So I am out that way 5 or 6 times a week or more. Traffic passes me at 60 and 70 miles an hour. I never see a police car with anyone pulled over. It is like taking your own life in your hands, and to not have a turn arrow there with all the traffic at the post office and etc. And to go to the market and those it is just absolutely, in my opinion, ridiculous that they took those arrows away and that nothing is being done about the speed down the parkway.
Right.
How did they take those arrows away?
I have no idea. Yeah, that's a DOT road. We can certainly ask, and we can certainly ask them to revisit that traffic pattern there. That's something that I have no control over. We can run it by the DOT in terms of the signalization. In terms of the enforcement, we've got Captain File here who's over patrol, and so you have to understand that. I mean, there are limited resources at the police department. They can't have an officer there all the time. But they do actively enforce when they get complaints, such as tonight. They actively will go and enforce, speeding there. You might find it interesting that at my town hall meeting Tuesday night, someone criticized us for enforcing speeding too much on Lafayette Parkway. I'm telling you the truth. I mean, at my Tuesday town hall meeting, I got a question: why do y'all spend so much time enforcing speeding on Lafayette Parkway? Why don't you go do more serious crime? So I'm not being flip there. I'm just saying that my answer to them is the same as my answer to you, which is that the police department has a limited number of resources, a total of 91 officers, and that covers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, etc. So they can't be everywhere. They have to focus on hot spots from time to time. So when they get a lot of complaints about speeding on New Franklin Road, they'll address that. When they get complaints about speeding on Lafayette Parkway, they can address that. They also really focus less on complaints and more on accident data, because LaGrange has a lot of serious motor vehicle accidents around town, and so where they focus their enforcement on the places where they've had the most accidents. And so we'll just have to run that to ground at that intersection and see. We keep great records, so Mike will be able to see pretty quickly if there is a need for more enforcement on that particular intersection. So we'll do that on the police side. That is something we can handle on the police side. On the signalization side, that's a DOT issue, but we can ask them to take a look at it and see.
If you were asking for that left turn arrow to be installed, that's one thing, but it's already there.
And it's just not being used.
Why
Yeah.
not
Activate it.
activate it?
Yeah. And I don't have the answer to that, but we can ask about it.
But I was somewhere the other day, not in LaGrange, but I saw basically the same situation where their intersection, similar to that, when the light changes green, the arrow starts flashing. So
Yeah.
the OT is doing it in other places. Why? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't. It may be a best practice or just a test they're doing. I don't know, but we'll ask about it. We'll ask about it. Yes, sir.
Reference to the speed on the parkway, they do work it pretty regular. I mean, I live right above it,
Yeah.
behind where the mattress store is. And I hear the sirens constantly every day. I know who's, they're stopping one, because you can hear him take off.
Yeah.
And I bet they write 150, 200 tickets out there a week.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. All right. Yes, sir.
Yes, I've got a safety issue. It's no fault of the city, but it's something I feel that the city could help with and that everybody here could help with. And I'm Dwayne Massengale. I work at CSX Railroad in Manchester, and I'm the legislative director for the state of Georgia for the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers Union. And we've got an issue where, as all we know, LaGrange has a lot of railroad traffic. And the railroads are pushing to get one person on a train, and these trains are growing in length and tonnage, and they're getting more dangerous. And in the name of profits, the railroads are wanting to cut it back to one person on the engine. And of course, we're against that. We've got a bill right now that's been introduced in Washington. It's in the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Congressman Drew Ferguson is on that committee. And if you all would, because it's for the safety of everybody, for the community, for the county, for the state, for the country. If we keep two people on these locomotives, we had an issue in 2013, and I don't know if you all remember, you probably saw it on the news, up in Canada, Lac-Mégantic, Canada. It was in Quebec County. There was an issue with a train that one man was on. He had left that train sitting there because he didn't have another man to help him to secure that train. That train rolled away, destroyed the city, 45 lives. Now Canada has a law stating that two people have to be on any trains with hazardous cargo. And so our bill in the United States is just for two people on the train, period. Because most of the time there's going to be some kind of dangerous cargo on these trains. And so everyone could help by calling Drew Ferguson and urge him to support H.R. 233. And we have 4 states that have statewide legislation. And we want to do that in Georgia. We want Georgia to be at the forefront of protecting its citizens. And if need be, I'll come present it to the city council. But I'd like to get a letter of support or something from the city, and I'm going to go to the county. And I'm waiting to hear from Columbus and to Atlanta. We're going to get all the big cities and in every town that the railroads run through, trying to get letters of support, so that we'll have some weight to present to the legislators in Atlanta, so we can try to get a bill passed next year. I've been talking to our state legislators, not just ours here, but from all over the state, and they like the idea, but them liking an idea and getting them to vote for it are two different things. So anything could help.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that, and certainly you've got an audience here tonight, and also on Facebook, and I hope that the Facebook audience was able to hear that. Okay, it's request to support House Bill 233, yes, and to contact Congressman Ferguson, right, to show support for the requirement of 2 persons on every railroad. You're absolutely right about us having a lot of rail traffic coming through town. People who move here from other communities say to me, this is the loudest place they've ever lived. But with the railroad coming through a lot, it's actually a good sign because the railroad's coming through a lot because we have so much industry and we have so many jobs and we have so much activity. But there are a lot of rail cars. And certainly from a safety standpoint, that's important. I would certainly welcome you to come to a city council meeting. If you'd let the city manager know, we can get you on an agenda and you can come address the council. Whether the council would want to take a formal position or not, I can't say. That would be up to the council to review. But you've had 2 council members here tonight, so thank you for that.
Another part of that is that, like I was saying, these trains are getting longer and longer. I was on a train the other day that was 13,400 feet long. That's over 2.5 miles long. And as these trains get longer and these dips and all, you got the train just tries to do its own thing as you're going along. You can't really control it. And then you have train separations, and then you got crossings blocked. And then not even that, if they just stop you and you got crossing blocks. That's an issue for emergency vehicles. So we want to try to look at limiting the train length to somewhat reasonable length.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Jim, can we just ask what they're doing out on the Fling Road with the railroad track and whatever's going on out there?
Do you know what's going on the Fling Road with the railroad track?
All the construction and the tree cutting.
Where the bridge is.
Putting in a access road and there's the bridge.
They put in an extra bridge there for a second track possibly later on when they put in Pegasus Parkway, and they've been doing surveying and they've been doing work up around Old Pine Road. They may be about to put in another track. We don't know. I haven't heard anything definite. I've heard that's in the plans that they're going to double track that through there like right through out here and under Lafayette Parkway, where you got 2 tracks running side by side. But
okay, thanks. I've got a question over here.
Question is a statement. I know this meeting is for the citizens to get out some of their concerns, and I just wanted to take this time to let you know how impressed I am with you as a mayor, and to thank you for all the things you're doing to help this community grow, the things you have done and the plans that you have, and I just want you to know that I'm proud to call you my mayor.
Well, thank you. How are we on Facebook? We good?
We're good.
Okay. Let me get to a couple other people.
Okay.
I know just since you,
A few things.
Yeah.
Speaking of him being with the railroad, right down here on Barnard, where the railroad is not active anymore, would that be their responsibility or the city to clean up that area of the book?
It's railroad property. It would be on the railroad.
Did you say about that, sir? Okay, because even that little bit there, that would help the Dunson community. And I had thought, even though I came here to speak about the bridge down here, I had thought I wouldn't say anything after I got in and someone mentioned it. But I live on Greenville Street, and that is a very, very inconvenient for all the people that live on this area. I go to church down the street. We have a lot of people in their 80s and 90s that come from that area of town that have to go all the way up and then come back here. It's not only timely inconvenient, it's money-wise also because it takes more gas to find. And as far as the parkway goes, I've seen cars all the way back to the mini Walmart from King Street. And, speaking of the bridge, King Street Bridge might have to be redone again with all this traffic coming over.
It's taking a lot of stress.
Right. So if you would try to encourage them, as much as you can, and I'm going to get my person who said...
You're preaching to the choir. I used Greenville Street every time I went out to the mall area town. I never went out the Parkway. I always used Greenville Street.
Ballparks over there, the people from the ballparks of the Calumet are going to be there, but also this bridge, I have seen youngsters playing there now a lot on their skateboards, which that's not too good.
Yeah, but we know it's an issue. Yeah.
Another thing is, could the city do anything to encourage landlords to sort of keep their houses up better in this area, because they're awful.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we act whenever a tenant changes in a property. The city will do an inspection and try to make sure that the property is up to code. Again, it's like the example I've used. I mean, if the wiring in the house is bad, then the city has some ability to force a change. If it's that the paint's not a good color or is faded, or that the carpets, I mean, I've had people say to me that their complaint is that their carpet is nasty in the house. Well, there's just some things that are beyond the scope of what the city can do. If you have a specific property that you think is below code, is unsafe, is unhealthy, etc., please call City Hall and ask to speak to the code enforcement department. Give them the address. They'll go out and take a look at it and see. It's an ongoing issue all over town. It's not in one section of town. It's all over town where they're constantly getting complaints and responding, and they certainly do what they can within the limitations of the law.
Is there any code or anything about a lot of stuff being on the porches? About as much stuff on the porches as it is in the house?
No. I mean, unless it becomes a health issue, like it's holding snakes or rodents or something. I mean, unless it becomes a health issue, just general clutter is beyond the scope of what the city can really enforce. Right.
All I had was a comment on railroads. I do a lot of research and so forth. West Point is building a dormitory for Ford University right on the railroad there. I don't know the specifics. I'm just in the learning stage. But I understand that there is such a thing as a silent crossing. Is that right?
That is correct.
I did not know that. What about looking into that for the hospital area? It's pathetic.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with what the protocol is for that, but we can talk and we can find out what the protocol is for requesting a silent crossing.
I think basically what it does is
I think you have to pay for it. I think if the city requests it, then it becomes there's a cost factor involved. But we'll check into that in a second.
But I think all that's involved is the cross arm, the arm that comes down, it just covers the right lane, But if the arm
cover the whole street.
Then the train doesn't have to. I think that's right.
Yeah, there's various ways they protect the streets where they have those crossings. In Atlanta, they've got on the north side of Atlanta in the high dollar area, they have about 5 crossings that are silent crossings. We have to ring the bell going across, but you don't blow the horn, and they have them protected both directions, one way or another. They've got a cone barrier in the middle that the arm comes down to, and then the cars can't go around, or either they have the double gates. But yes.
Yeah. But we'll follow.
That would be tremendous.
Great questions. Great comments. Great suggestions. So lots of things for us to follow up on. Again, I'm easy to access. I'm easy to find. Certainly, our city staff is. Our council members are, and certainly, I encourage you to come out to our council meetings. We have.
Sorry, just one more question from Facebook.
Okay, well, let's get the last question. Last question from Facebook. So
Dottie Patterson.
Yes.
Question.
Okay.
Is there a plan to put recycle containers around the parks or in the downtown areas?
I'm not aware of a plan, but Mama, because that's my mother, Mama. I will look into that. I will see what we can do. I think if my mother puts that request in, I have to. I have to respond. So yes, we will check into that. We'll see what we can do. So, yeah. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Again, thank you, Dr. Jolly, and the members of Dunson Methodist Church for your hospitality. And certainly, I know if Councilman Gore and Mitchell are here, and myself, I'll hang around if you have any other specific questions. And thank you all for joining us on Facebook Live. We're adjourned.